lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan.
And I'm Manny.
And today we're going to be talking about a book that is long overdue to be talked about on the channel. We're talking X-Men Grand Design, Book 1 by Ed Piskor. Before we jump into the episode, I just want to remind everybody, if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and check out some of the other dope content on the channel. Hit that subscribe button. And now let's talk this amazing, amazing book by the late, great Ed Piskor. I wish we would have done this, sooner, but better late than never,
Yes.
First off, this cover, dude, is fucking phenomenal. It's so striking. I love
Yes,
the
sir.
spot gloss of the red from Cyclops Optic Blast. It's just so good. It's just such a great pack. I mean, that's mostly probably, I'll talk about the cartooning too, but like the presentation of this, the packaging of this, Ed's idea, like Marvel wasn't doing these before, and now they're fucking doing it on a consistent basis with other stories that are not part of the grand design. Pretty cool. I love these end papers too. All the old
Corner box art, yeah.
corner box art. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Getting to see like how it grew from like issue 1 all the way up until issue 271. Obviously, there's some ones he skips, which I can only imagine either it doesn't change or these are just the ones that stood out to me because I don't have every issue. Still
Yeah,
cool
and
to see.
I love corner box art, man. It's a very missed thing about comics.
So is this Marvel Comics logo. Is also a very missed thing about comics.
Yeah.
The best. I mean, I love the DC Bullet. To me, the DC Bullet and this 90s Marvel Comics logo are the best logos in the history of comic books.
I would agree with you 100%, my friend.
Then we got this, this jumping straight in. I love that he zoomed in on this mutant milestone thing that
I believe that was on X-Men #1 by Jim Lee, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. Awesome though. And I love that it's all like worn out too. So it's a beater copy that this came from, which just shows a side of Ed. Like if you watch the channel or you obviously if you know him personally, like he's not about keeping shit and making edition. He doesn't give a shit. It's all about the comic for him. I love this title page too. Just all blacked out, just with the mouth, Cyclops mouth and visor. Pretty dope. This, I mean, every part of it, dude. Every page is something to enjoy. This, like, the credits is fucking sick, dude. It's so sick the way they're all on the bricks. It's Cyclops busting out the wall. Then this, the table of contents. I mean, he just, like, all his collections, really. Any book that he does that's collected, he puts so much great back matter. And, it's not just, like, a basic table of contents. Of course, he creates new art for this stuff,
Yeah, it's great, man. The sense of design that he had was fantastic, and he always put that to work in all his collections to make it to give you a reason to double dip. Like I have the single issues that were released, but like when you factor in that they made this treasury size and all the stuff that you just mentioned, Ryan, like that's why I don't mind double dipping on books when this kind of stuff is being done to the collection.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know about the omnibus for this. That's the thing I didn't double dip on because I wasn't sure how much extra material. Like the Hip Hop Family Tree, he had extra stuff.
Yes.
I don't know how much extra after these treasuries was included, but I'd kind of be curious to see. I mean, this would be the format I want to read it in though. Is this oversized? I love that it's like, trying to replicate brown newsprint as much as you can. I mean, which makes the white almost an extra color on the palette, which is prevalent throughout this. Like he uses white, dude. It's crazy. And then this, dear reader, I hope you enjoy this love letter. It was made with you in mind. Sincerely, Eddie P. That kind of got me choked up as I was reading this last night.
Same, man. Yeah, flipping through this again last night was bittersweet.
Yeah, I'm glad we decided to do this though, because we have been talking about doing X-Men Grand Design for the longest time.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
So, for whatever reason, we just kept, do single issue. Sometimes it's a faster read, like to, get a couple of those done, a couple episodes. But I didn't want to like let any time pass. Plus, like just all this talk about Ed, I'm just like, man, I really just want to go back and reread this. It's been a little while. I read this at the beginning of COVID. That was the first time I read it. I hadn't read them in single issues. I didn't even know about the book, to be honest with you. So this to me is the reading experience for it, And I just love like the whole impetus behind Grand Design is taking you know, where some of the continuity wasn't necessarily super cohesive, and then making it one large story. Now, X-Men benefited the most from this type of storytelling because I believe
Agreed.
the early X-Men, like there wasn't like a very rigid continuity. Fantastic Four had it more so, but Shioli did a great job with that too. I mean, condensing all that was crazy. And then, Jim Rugg with his Hulk grand design didn't really need to make a cohesive continuity necessarily, but his like vision of it was super unique, which made it really cool. But this is like the perfect primer for somebody that doesn't know anything about X-Men.
Yeah, man, that's a good point, and like it reads really well, and it gives you everything you need to know about the X-Men. And fuck, man, with the X-Men, if the MCU is your shit, man, with the X-Men being brought into it, this is probably the best thing you can give someone to give them an idea of what the X-Men history is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's stuff I didn't know, and even reading it
Yeah,
again, I don't remember and know some of these characters because I'm not that well versed in like the X-Men from the 60s, 70s as much as I am. Well, maybe late set with the Burn stuff. And after Giant Size X-Men, I know more of that. But the stuff that preceded Giant Size X-Men, that's a huge blank spot for me. And this honestly made me want to go pick up maybe some of those like essentials and go back and read some of it. But I love that it's narrated by the Watcher. And I
me
love how
too.
he ties in like other moments in history of like these random mutants that we don't
Yeah,
even
like
know it.
like tying in Paul Bunyan and like all these like tall tales that are part of like like American history, American lore. Like that was really clever, man.
Yeah. And then obviously, Namor the Submariner has now been retconned to be the actual first mutant, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that was established quite a while ago. And so that's how we meet it. So we don't even meet the X-Men yet, which is
No,
fantastic.
yeah,
And I love that, this scene with Human Torch and Namor. And then right here, this is what I was talking about with the way he utilizes white as another color.
yeah, like on the battleship here, yeah,
Yeah, or the energy coming off of this this radioactive material and tying it
yeah.
in with one of the Starks, Howard Stark, and tying it in with Xavier's parents. It's just so
Which is
cool how he's
which
doing
is a
this.
bit of thing I didn't know. I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he made that up. I don't think he might have, but I didn't know that the Xavier's parents were like so tied into like the whole thing with the Starks. Like that. That's fucking great.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because it's those things that like, did he add that, or is it in some like really obscure story that we don't know about? Because he does the research, man, when he does these
Of course
projects,
he
so
does.
much like
Yeah.
Hip Hop Family Tree, WYSIWYG, all that stuff. So it's kind of cool to see like, Xavier's still a baby. Then we jump and we get Wolverine. Little brief moment with him. Not super crazy, but just establishing a timeline and seeing Wolverine with Captain America. We see Magneto first use his powers using Cap's shield. This is a
Mhm.
great panel.
It is. It's fantastic, man. It's like it's great cartooning, and it was so refreshing to see Marvel do a project like this because this actually came out when I was kind of like not reading comics for a bit. Like I had just transitioned to a new job. I was trying to save up money, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Louis Rosen from Orlando, Florida, because when the Grand Design came out, I couldn't find it anywhere. It sold out quickly. He found it in a shop of his over in Orlando, and he mailed them to me. And I've never even met Louis in person. He's someone I met through online through friends of a friend, and he's the one that actually told me about this project. I had been familiar with Ed from the Hip Hop Family Tree stuff he was doing on boingboing.net. But I had no idea this was coming out until it was out. And when I got these comics, bro, I was fucking floored.
Yeah, I mean, this is like I said, I didn't even know this existed, and I didn't know of Ed at the point of when it was coming out. I didn't know about Hip Hop Family Tree. Like all that stuff came to me really during COVID. I never heard of it. It wasn't on my radar for whatever reason. And so like I just absorbed everything that Ed did in a very short period of time. All four Hip Hop Family Trees, all three X-Men Grand Designs, and WYSIWYG, all within the span of like 2 weeks. I just kept buying and buying and buying. This just blew me away. And like I
Yeah,
became
man.
such a fan of all of his stuff right from the get-go, man. I mean, like, look at this. This young Xavier reading Kane Marco, who will become Juggernaut, reading his mind and seeing like all these like
Yeah.
murders that he's like envisioning. It's just so great. The close up, the pupils, and the fucking the way the eyes look, and again, just like tying in all of this history. I mean, obviously, like if you're a fan of X-Men, you probably know most of this, so I don't need to get super detailed into it. I really just wanted to show this off because like it's these little moments that he adds in that make it really cool. The Easter eggs, like a young Aurora, right? Stealing from Xavier. This right here, dude, is fucking so dope.
The Shadow King stuff.
Yeah, but like showing like inside the mind how he like showcases that just complete blackness, and he'll do it later on with Jean Grey, and I love this where Xavier's like just like you can see it, dude. The sweat pouring down his face, blood dripping out of his mouth, and then like the eyes just go red.
I love that panel of Xavier, man. You rarely see Xavier like portrayed like that, and that's such a great moment.
And then seeing, oh man, and then Magneto has a fucked up history too, like his fucking wife and daughter murdered in front of him. I kind of think his hair is kind of funny here a little bit. It kind of reminds me of Wolverine a little bit.
Yeah, and he looks like Quicksilver, which is fine because Quicksilver's his kid. So.
That's still like a sore spot for me. I hate that they retconned Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver out of not being his kids. I think it's fucking huge misstep on Marvel's part. I think it all had to do with they wanted to like be able to use them in the movies, and I think that's kind of what happened. But that's speculation on my part. But I don't like that they changed it. Always like the mutant's powers usually get triggered by a traumatic event. Like he does have his power here, but I feel like he's not fully like at full strength. And then this dude watching his house burn down with his family and just this stark white and all silhouette. Again, I just using the fucking iron in their body to kill off their oxygen supply.
Yeah, bro, it's fucking great.
And here we go. This is where Kane. I don't remember this either. Xavier being in the army. Am I?
Yeah, I don't remember that either. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Like him and Kane are in the army together, and he has a little bit of power, so he can fucking like sense stuff. And then this is where the gem of Sidorak comes into play, and that will eventually turn Kane into the Juggernaut. So it's like we're getting these little bits and pieces that pay off later, but building out and fleshing out some of the history, which is why I think that some of this is Ed kind of like expounding on it.
Like streamlining it a bit to make it like a smoother narrative, because this is being told chronologically too.
Yeah,
and a lot of these things were like retcons that came later in the X-Men books.
Exactly.
And the way he makes it feel like very organic.
I think that's the best part, is that it feels like this is how it always was. Wolverine and Cap. First of all, Wolverine wasn't around when X-Men was first established, right?
Exactly.
Namor wasn't established as being part of the Marvel Universe, I think, at that point, at least when X-Men debuted. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I feel like Namor came a little bit later in Fantastic Four. But anyways, it's just like cool to see them building this whole history and condensing so many years, but in such a great narrative where it flows evenly like a story. It doesn't feel abrupt when you jump a little bit in time. You meet Moira, right? You meet Magda, who is Proteus, right? Is it Proteus? Xavier's son? So we meet her and he unlocks her mind, and then that relationship, and then we see Magneto as just an orderly at this fucking place, and that's when he meets Charles. In this page, dude, them playing chess while talking about their opposing views on human mutant relations is just amazing.
Then we get into like that's what you were talking about. It's great.
Yeah, just stark white. Jean like just watched her friend die, and like now she's inside of her mind, and then she gets locked. We don't know that, but we're gonna see that she locks herself in her mind after this happens because of the trauma.
We got the Phoenix Force.
Yes, I love this too. How it's light years away, scouring infinity for her next divine physical host, which we know is going to be Jean Grey. And this is at the point where she's just a child, so it's like taking years just to get there. We see the Shi'ar Empire, we see the Skrulls, the Kree, see the young Scott, Alex Summers getting attacked. They're in this fucking regular plane, this like alien ship attacks them. Their dad's parents seemingly die, right? They take the parachute, but then we see right here that Christopher Summers, who becomes part of the Starjammers.
I've always loved that this alien's name is Chode.
I know. I try not to say Chode. I say Chod, because if I say Chode in my head, I'm very childish and I'll start laughing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just laughed.
Kind of like you just did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't say enough how much I love the fact that he uses white as a fucking color,
Yeah.
because nowadays you're not doing that on a regular comic. White would just be the absence of you doing anything, but he's
Yeah.
putting it in because of the way. Plus, I didn't even say the fact he wrote it, he drew it, he colored it, he lettered it, everything. It's all
All by
white.
hand.
Yes, all by hand. That's why I love his lettering too. We see, a little backstory on Havoc. We see Cyclops seeing like when his mutant power first, surfaces. He blows up this hospital wing, and then this scene with Jean and Charles as he unlocks her, and brings her out of this basically this self-induced coma she's been in. And I love watching how they build up. I didn't know this thing either. Is it like this thing with Cyclops where he thinks he murders one of his classmates at the orphanage, and then he goes on the run, and then like this kid's literally like talking about like, yeah, I don't know why he was like yelling my name, and then we see Mr. Sinister also retcon, right? So some of this history, I don't know about Jack of Diamonds though. Is that maybe something? I feel like that's not something Ed introduced. Maybe this is something I just missed in some of the X-Men comics. But this dude's super douchey with his fucking ponytail, Jack of Diamonds.
A character I wasn't familiar with. You also with Masterman on the next page. I wasn't familiar with that either.
Oh, you don't know
It's like
Masterman?
no, yeah,
He's more of a Captain America a villain. So he's
yeah.
definitely been he was used a little bit in the Ed Brubaker run. I feel like the
Oh boy, wait a minute. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah. Yeah.
Grunwald, I think, was also in his run. Yeah, he's been around. I love that he's a Nazi dude. And then first off, when you first look at this, you may not know exactly what view you're looking through. And then you realize it's Magneto's visor. And this
Amazing, right?
purple, oh my God, so good. That's what I love about it too. He takes these like unexpected like camera shots with the way he
Yeah.
does it, and they're all like different from one another. You get the speed lines there with Iceman. We see this dude got frostbite from Bobby, and like his arm's gone, and he's in jail. And this dude basically tells him to go hang himself. And then this, I love these two panels right here of Cyclops blasting through the
Yeah.
wall, the
Yep.
whole brick wall coming out, meeting
He really
Iceman the first
embraces the
time.
body horror of the X-Men too.
I dig his Iceman because this isn't how
I
Iceman looked, like his head like that, kind of looking like almost like an evil snowman.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool as fuck, bro. And he's a little
Hell
bit
yeah!
bulkier than.
And here we go, the thing that Marvel ruined, the history with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and they're like trying to burn Wanda at the stake, and Magneto comes and saves them. So good. Now we meet Angel, and then like this part where like Larry Trask, Stephen Lang, Bolivar Trask, Robert Kelly,
Yeah.
David Donald Pierce from the Hellfire Club, this anti-mutant group called the Right. Pretty crazy that he's like friends with this kid, Cameron Hodge, and then he's like betraying him by being a part of these like mutant haters. And then this too, I don't believe, like this is also something that was obviously retcon, this Angel costume that he had, because I believe he was just on the team with issue 1.
Yeah, it's cool. I love the gun, like that he has there. It's a cool design.
How about this little Spidey in this one panel that Ed threw in there?
Oh, dude, yeah, that's dope as fuck, bro.
I like this too when they're talking about mutants and they mention Namor, artist interpretation. His head's all fucking misshapen.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we meet Hank, dude. Hank McCoy, dude, aka Beast, the final member of the initial 5 members of the X-Men. Get little fucking Toad there. I love this too, this panel where they're like he's jumping through. I
Yeah.
love panels like that, man.
Same, man. Like just the small, like little tiny figures. I love that kind of stuff. Like Rob would do that. Liefeld does that too. Like the little
Yeah.
tiny.
Dude, I love how much he uses this purple in here. Yeah. Now we got the crew, dude. The crew's together. They've got their final member, Jean Grey, coming in the mix. We haven't seen her in her full regalia yet. This is the first time we see her coming in. And, obviously all the guys have a thing for Jean, which I always thought was kind of funny. Here we go. This is what I was talking about too. You got Dr. McTaggart, and we get David, who is Professor X's son. Ends up being one of the most powerful mutants in all of the Marvel universe.
Very much so, yeah. an Omega level mutant.
Yeah, here we go. We got the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I mean, look at this, dude. That's basically just, I mean, at the point that the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants debuts, that's issue 4 of X-Men,
Yeah,
you know? So, like, how much, I mean, we're like 46 pages into this thing, dude, and we haven't even gotten past issue 4. So good. So fucking good, dude. I love this. Mesmero, Mastermind. You know, I love
yeah,
this
dude.
fucking Magneto just attacking. He's got his asteroid M headquarters. This is fantastic, dude. The fight scene here, dude. This part too.
Yeah, I love this. That design on that, like that's straight up like David Cronenberg body horror, like fucking
Yeah,
shit from like 80s movies. You know, like it looks like a big giant radioactive mess.
yeah. Mayor Kelly, dude. Look at what happens to his ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just I mean, I don't want to like we don't have to ruin every single page because
Yeah.
like I mean I came into this blind and I want somebody to experience it, but you know just the connectivity of it all. You know, you got Kazar and the Savage Land making an
Yep.
appearance. You got Juggernaut. I love this panel. One of my favorite panels of the book. Juggernaut busting through the wall, and then we see that it's Kane Marco and that look on his face when he realizes that it's you know, his stepbrother, dude. Oh, so much fun, dude. And then when the X-Men break up, we get that. We, you know, fucking
Yeah.
Banshee making an appearance.
We got
Mimic.
Galactus. You know.
I love this dream sequence. I like how he depicts that kind of like almost like looking faded.
Yeah, like he desaturates the colors there.
Yeah. I love the way he does Juggernaut here charging through. It's so fucking dope, dude.
And the way he's like every little bit he gives you more of the Phoenix Force on its way to Earth. Like that's really great too to give it a much more epic feel instead of the Phoenix Force just showing up like from the very
Yeah,
beginning
dude.
we got it coming and coming, you know, like
It's an
building and
yeah,
building.
it's an over like it's a behind the scenes thing that's like a complete like what's the word I'm looking through? It's permeated throughout the entire story. Like it's always kind
Yeah,
of lurking, you know?
yeah,
And is the impetus behind a lot of what's happening, right? Like them teaming up against the X-Men, them thinking they have to go against Professor X, and that it's coming for him, and then faking his death, right? To kind of escape them. This panel of him getting his neck snapped.
dude, yeah, it's fucking sick.
It made me want to go back and read these old X-Men comics. I'll be honest with you, like to just kind of like compare and contrast of like what Ed did as opposed to like what they were doing in the comics. Nick Fury making an appearance and telling them they have to work for him or they can't do anything, so they change their outfits so that they're not considered, you know, the X-Men. I thought that was
Right.
pretty cool. Something I don't remember. I don't think I've read yet. And Beast is still in his human form too. We meet Polaris, you know, the daughter of Magneto. Get the Living Pharaoh making an appearance, dude. I feel like that might be the. Maybe I'm wrong. Is that like the Neil Adams stuff?
I think so. Because these look like the costumes that were around for Neil
Yeah,
Adams
because
too,
like
like
Neil
the
Adams did like the Havoc appearance, right? The first appearance of Havoc.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, these are just like, I mean, even something as simple as this. You just watch like, you know, Lorna Dane on the fucking like exercise bike and the fucking Sentinel creeping in and then grabbing her straight out of the fucking house, busting through the window. This one
Yeah,
too. This dude right. And
yeah,
then
dude.
this stuff. I like this era of these like when they changed their outfits and they weren't like all uniform and coming to the Savage Land and you see fucking Magneto that has like these like weird fucking creatures that he's basically created.
That's another period of X Men I want to check out more. Is like that whole Savage Land shit. I find that shit really cool.
Yeah, dude, it's something I often hear creators talk about, but I've never read myself. So it's definitely, again, a lot of this history is a blind spot to me that I didn't read. You know, I didn't grow up in this era, so I'm mostly 80s and then up, you know, with a sprinkle of 70s that I've checked out. This scene too with Iceman, Cyclops, and Havoc is so fucking dope.
Yeah, dude. Again, the white. You mentioned the white. That's it. That was such a good point to bring up because it's used super effectively here.
And then,
And
you
it,
know, we end with him mentioning Krakoa, which will lead us into giant size X-Men and where the majority of these mutants disappear and Cyclops is left by himself and recruits new mutants to help him. Then we get this back matter that is just absolutely fucking awesome. Like this is so
this is
cool,
what
dude.
got. This is what really got to me last night when I was looking through
Yeah.
it because it reminded me of me, man. Like I had all these toys. That could be me and my cousin Carlos sitting in front of my TV playing the X-Men video. You know what I mean?
The
Like
toys reminded me. I was like, oh man, dude, because I didn't have that Nintendo X-Men game, but it does remind me of sitting with my friends playing video games. The
I
drawing
have some of
here,
these toys still. You know?
the drawing here too, like how he replicates it, and Ed's mom does the drawing too. That's so cool, dude. And then
Yeah,
he
she's
interpreted
good.
it too. Yeah, she is really good, dude. And then
And
this,
then
dude, fuck, I wish I had the pages of like I used to draw like maybe not this crazy like actual comic book pages, but I did used to draw my own stories sometimes when I was little, and then I
me
just
too, man.
stopped. And they're gone. They're just gone to history. Like I moved so much that like they disappeared. And the fact that he has these and was able to put this in here.
Same. The closest I got was like recently my sister transferred all our old home movies to like a digital, like on a cloud, and we were watching, and there's a scene where I'm showing off my sketchbook, and
Yeah.
I was able to screen capture. I'll send them to you, man. I was like surprised at how good I actually was. I should have kept drawing.
Me too. Me too. I'm surprised I was as good as I was because I have
Yeah.
a couple pieces, but nothing crazy. But this is just, I mean, look at the coloring too, man. He did such a great
Yeah.
job.
And the sense of storytelling was already there,
Yeah.
they're not just pinups, they're not just tracing or copying other images. Like he's really trying to tell a story as a kid, and like you could tell that this was in his DNA, man. Like this whole book is just made from a love of comics, and if I'm gonna like remember Ed for anything, it's for that. His enthusiasm and his love for the medium
Yeah.
was literally infectious. You could not watch him on his channel talk about comics and not get fucking excited, man.
Yeah. I love getting to see these too. We got something from, at Kubert School, him drawing it Deadpool 94, little teenage Eddie P drawing this fucking shit. Look at the rendering on that too. And then the fan art that led to this book's creation, where the fabled, the story where he shares that he tagged Marvel, is like, let me do an X-Men book, and then he did a fucking X-Men book,
Yeah,
dude.
he fucking do
How
it.
many
Yeah,
how many people manifest that? And I won't get into it today. Like I want to dedicate maybe its own episode of going through X-Men 1, and I honestly wouldn't mind doing it from this version because he recolors it. And
yeah, I'm down.
it's better than the facsimile, if I'm being completely honest. This would be fun to go through. I love that he did this in each Treasury edition. He recolors an old X-Men story that's, relates to what he's doing. So he does like giant size X-Men, and then in the next one, and he does X-Men 268, I believe, the Cap, Wolverine, Black Widow story. And then we get this about the author page, man. This also kind of got me.
Yeah, same, bro.
But I just want to share the love that I have for Ed Piskor. Both of us wanted to share the love we have for Ed's work, and definitely check out some of the other stuff on the channel, and also be on the lookout for the next episode when we do X-Men Grand Design Book 2. So make sure I hope you dug the episode. Go pick up this book if you don't have it. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, we're out.